So I ran across this video last night and I thought this was a really interesting interaction and a really good demonstration of what I mean when I say you need to dominate your dog. Again, dogs see things in terms of a social hierarchy. Dogs form dominance hierarchies. In order to work with this, you have to understand how to communicate with a dog the correct way, how to assert yourself to a dog, how to exert dominance, if you will. And then what you'll see in this video is there is a bit of a power struggle, right? But this individual understands what's taking place on a social level. And so he wins that power struggle to take control of this bowl of food from the dog. So the dog is trying to what they call resource guarding, which this is just a dominance hierarchy in motion, at play. Social dynamics working in real time, right? So the dog is trying to possess the food, and so he starts growling at this individual. Now, I don't know the context of I don't know if this is his dog. I don't know if this is a dog he's working with. It really doesn't matter, because say if I brought a dog in, or if I went to somebody's home and the dog was doing this with the food, this is how I would approach a situation. I would not recommend that the owner do this. I wouldn't recommend to you at home. If you have a dog that's this big, this strong, and has this type of mentality, I would not recommend doing this with that dog, because there is the potential for that dog to bite you. I would just do this for the owner and explain to them what's taking place, the principles behind it, and then I would educate them on how they need to handle this dog in all other areas, but I would handle the food for them. So let's take a look at this here.
Why are you crying at me? You're the one growling.
Right, so you see the dog starts growling. Now, I will say, now there's some comments about the Crocs in the video, or in the comments section, and I'm gonna have to agree with them. Guys, listen, grown men, let's do better. Let's do better. Now I'm just poking fun, right? But we gotta throw away the Crocs. One of the comments said, "Imagine being dominated by a guy wearing Crocs." I would have to agree. Now the people got offended by that comment. I think this person was they were just poking fun, right? But I find it to be humorous. It's like I don't like it either. But moving forward.
Damn, you turned into a whole nother beast. I don't even know who you are right now. I don't even know who you are. Huh? Who do you think you are? You want hold on. You want my food.
Right, so he already says you want my food. Right? He's making it clear. He's claiming ownership. He understands that he needs to own the food. He needs to make it clear to the dog that he owns the food. Right? But the dog is growling at him, giving him the warning signs, saying the dog is trying to possess the food. This is what dogs will do. This is the power struggle that's taking place. Dog is saying, I want to claim this food from you, and I'm warning you, you get too close to my food, we're going to have a problem. And he's saying, no, that's my food. So now, again, here's where the power struggle takes place. They're challenging each other for ownership, for control of the food. Because the human's saying, no, it's mine. Dog's saying, no, I want it. It's mine. Okay, so what happens?
You want my food, but yet you're going to growl at me? How do you think you're supposed to eat your food? Not like that. Right? You can't be like that. That's not good. That's not a good trait. You know that's not good. You can't growl at me like that. Yeah, man, that's not...
Now, what I find interesting is, like, I wouldn't normally be talking to a dog this much. I would be communicating in other ways. But you can see the way the dog responds to what he's saying. I find it's humorous. There is a back and forth going on here, even though, like, the dog doesn't know the words, but I think the dog can sense energetically what he's saying. He's expressing that he's disappointed, right? And I think the dog is picking up on that. And now the dog is responding in just a very humorous way. It's very interesting.
Cool. Well,
Right, now you see what the dog does here. The dog then is now showing supplication. He's showing supplicative behavior. The dog is basically submitting, not fully, because now the human is exerting himself in a certain way, saying like, I don't approve of this. And the dog is saying like, it begins to supplicate, right? You see how the dog even
You're the one.
starts to give space to the bull.
So it's up to you, man. See,
right? The dog
if
actually
you
backs
growl at
away
me,
from the
then
food.
you're probably gonna have to wait even longer. You want to wait longer, or you want to eat now? You want to eat now? Say something. Say something. You want to eat now? Whoa, hold on.
You see, he pushes him away.
Hold on.
Dog comes in.
Whoa,
he actually sets
whoa.
a boundary. He pushes the
Where
dog
you
away.
going?
I like that.
Okay, all right. Down. Yes. Look, you can't growl at me, all right? Okay? You can't growl at me. See? Why you do that?
So
Why's your teeth like that? Come on. That's not good. Shh. How you gonna eat? How you gonna eat like that? How you gonna eat like that? See? Oh, man. I don't know. You're getting too possessive over your food. It's not good.
you see, as he gets closer, dog starts growling again, and you might miss it, but he actually kind of just taps the dog on the top of the head, which is that's a dominant move. That's a power move, and the dog does not bite him or snap. The dog does not snap at him or react to that. Right? The dog lets him do it.
It's not good, man. That is not good. You know this is my food, right? That's my food.
You see, as he closes in, the dog then tries to close in as well. So he's trying to come in and take it, and then the dog, of course, sees this, and now the dog is trying to come in and take it. But it's interesting that the dog does not go to intensely start eating the food, right? The dog doesn't do that. The dog kind of starts licking the food.
I'm giving that.
And then, my favorite part, where he touches, you see how he touched the dog? And he made a sound. It's kind of like Cesar Millan-esque, the sound, but the way he touched that dog is pretty much exactly the way I touched Bruno when he growled at Kaylee that first day I brought him home over the food. I touched him just like that to let him know, ain't gonna work that way. So he is exerting the strength of his personality to the level of touching the dog, because now the dog again is trying to claim the food to the point of even starting to eat it. And he's saying no, and he's expressing that, exerting dominance. He's dominating the dog. He's taking control of the food, but he's also taking control of the dog. So just by that touch, you see what the dog does after.
I'm giving that to you. That's my food. You can't growl at me for that. You can't growl at me for that.
Right, there you go. Now, I would do this just a little bit differently, but I like what he did there, where, see, the dog didn't go right back to trying to eat the food. The dog understands what's happening here. And I think this individual knows that he has to assert himself a little bit more, which was the finger snap, which I love finger snaps. Now, I would have applied a little bit more spatial pressure. I would have stepped towards the dog, but he may know that might not be a good idea with this dog. That might increase the level of challenge from the dog. So he may already understand that, given, he may understand this dog. Like I said, I have no context for this dog. I don't know if this is his dog, but he probably knows that if he did that, it may not turn out that well. So he's kind of working around that. But you see what the dog does as a result of him asserting himself a little bit more.
Look, I know you're hungry. I know you're hungry. Shh, shh, shh.
Right,
Shh.
see?
Actually, back.
Dog starts growling again, and he is exerting his will over the dog, letting him know, I don't approve of the growling. Right, again, this is the power struggle. This is what happens when you have a more dominant dog, more headstrong dog, a dog who's willing to challenge, to gain control of something, to possess something. You have to win these battles to get control over the dog, to dominate the dog, but then also to claim ownership over the thing that the dog is growling at you over.
Back up. Back up. Back. 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 No, you back.
Right. Right. You see, he's asserting himself more. He's not getting angry with the dog. He's increasing the level of assertiveness. He's increasing the level of dominance. He's exerting himself a little bit more, putting more power into his communication. You see, the dog starts to, and then he takes it up a little bit, and then the dog barks at him. So the dog is expressing the discontent in the fact that this individual is exerting dominance over him. So again, we're still in this back and forth.
Go back right now. Back. Down. You gotta stop being like that.
Okay, you see what he did there? Dog gives him the space. He gives the food, right? Gives a little bit of food to show the dog. I would have done the same thing. And you see that the dog is paying more attention to him than the food. That's what I look for. I look for the dog needs to cease forward movement towards the bowl, towards the food. I need the dog to then give me space. And then I need the dog to no longer show the intent that it's going to challenge me over the food, which means I want that dog's attention on me, not the food.
Okay, come on.
And so I like what he did there, where he went to hand feeding the dog, right? That would be a good thing to do with a dog like this. And again, I think that's pretty much it. Yeah. So I really, really like that. I wouldn't have done it exactly, but all the principles apply. He hit every single principle that I would have utilized when it comes to a dog who's exerting dominance in an attempt to claim the food, right? This is how dominance works. This is how a dominance hierarchy works. He's establishing the order that he's at the top. He owns the food. He controls it. And by winning this power struggle, he's now gaining dominance over the dog. He's dominating the dog to get dominance over the dog. He's now gaining authority, more authority over the dog by dominating it. And this is contextual, right? You may take a dog on a leash and the dog adopts a follower leader mentality, but then things are different when you put a bowl of food down. You have to dominate the dog in all contexts. This is why the first day I bring a dog home, or I bring a dog into my world, I'm asserting myself in every context. We go through this exercise with food, so I make sure the dog understands I control the food, I control the toys. Not that we really use many toys around here, but say if I give a dog a bully stick or anything, I claim ownership of that. I claim ownership over the territory, the furniture. So the dog understands no matter where we're at, it can't challenge me for anything. I'm establishing that I make the rules around here. I enforce boundaries around here. I enforce obedience, thereby dominating the dog. I control everything. See my previous videos where I go through the definitions of these words, because that's exactly what this individual is doing. And he did it really, really well. Again, he didn't get mad at the dog, right? He conveyed the strength of his personality in the way he was communicating with the dog, verbally, and then, of course, by touching the dog in a particular way. He wasn't letting the dog win, right? He didn't allow the dog to take an inch and get a mile. You know, as soon as that dog started licking and eating the food, he stepped in and said, "Nope, that's mine." There's a lot of little subtle things happening, but this is just a great demonstration of what it would look like, especially with a bigger, stronger dog.